This is River Roaring, celebrating the luminous life force in us all. Hello, darling. I'm River Roaring, and this episode is The Lost Art of Sexual Fantasy. This has to be one of my favorite topics in the universe. Let your imagination run wild and free. Courageously explore the edges of your erotic desire and play. Well, sexual fantasy changed my life completely. It was 20 years ago when I realized the sexual fantasy I'd had all of my adult life but never revealed to anyone could come true in real life safely. I entered the kink scene. Little story behind that I'm not going to go into right now, but I found it 20 years ago. The kink scene in Austin at that time, following my fantasy world ethically and joyfully in the real world, which led to 2 decades of intense sexual and spiritual play, experimentation, and learning. And most of my sexual fantasies came true. And I realized something really important. I am no longer interested in doing anything that isn't thrilling. Literally, I have changed my life from that one realization. Things I was learning in the bedroom were teaching me lessons for life: how to dream, how to make them come true, how to connect lovingly with fellow humans, how to keep life exciting and fun, how to conduct myself in really intense situations. My life path now aligns with my dreams. I left my decades-long profession to follow my passion, and I was no longer modifying myself to fit in with the outside world. I was modifying the outside world to fit around my desire, my dreams, my fantasies. And my sexual fantasy practice is alive and well. It's fuel for my ecstatic life. And my friend, and I hope it'll be fuel for yours as well. Today I want to share about the practice of sexual fantasy, and then the refinements on the practice, and then some big picture kind of things that make us go, wow, things to think about. But I really believe that sexual fantasy is a lost art. I've met a few people in my life who have said they've never had a sexual fantasy, and I met the first one years ago, never again for a while. And now with the internet, I'm meeting more people who don't come up with their own internal fantasies. So this is how we can become an artist of your own spirit. Now, this practice might lead to spontaneous outbursts of joy, so be careful. You might feel inspired, and you might feel love emanating from deep inside, so watch it. You might feel a renewed sense of freedom and authenticity. Your body might even begin to relax. You might face your biggest fears and claim victory. Of course, you have free will, so if you start down this road of sexual fantasy and this process doesn't work for you, discontinue it. You may leave your fantasy anytime. Just simply let go and focus on other things. If it works for you, on the other hand, maybe this is something you can continue for the rest of your life. I am making a written little manual on this, and I'm not exactly sure how and where I'm going to put that out, but if you want that, if you want the written guide, contact me. Just hit me up on the socials or emails and I'll send it. But for now, and the guide will guide you through doing the practice at home, I am going to talk about the practice in this podcast but I'm not going to actually lead you through a practice in this podcast like I do in my sessions in my temple. And the reason is I have listened to many podcasts and speakers online in my lifetime. And so far, when they have started to break in their talk and lead into a practice, I've never done it with them. I'm doing something else when I'm listening, and I've never stopped and done the practice. But then I don't want you to just hear the practice here and imagine you've done it. I want to really invite you to learn about it here and then set aside some time when you're not listening to stuff and you're really in a quiet and still place and really do the practice. So this is our opportunity to talk and learn about the practice. I do encourage you, of course, the whole purpose of this is that you set aside some quiet time separately and actually do the practice. So I do invite you to do it one time. Don't get caught up in the details. There's no need to be perfect. Just set aside time and try it. If you like it, do it again and again. See if you can make it even more fabulous, even more of what you love the most. So let's talk about the practice. How do I do it? I have broken it down to 3 simple steps. Step number 1, relax and enjoy your body. The objective here is to relax your nervous system so you can enter the dream space. Follow these steps to prepare for your sexual fantasy journey. See which ones you like that fit for you. 1, I'm not going to number them, but 1 is prepare your space using your favorite sounds, scents, tastes, objects, and aesthetic. The next one, have this guide or this podcast and a pen and some crayons nearby. Have a musical instrument nearby if that's your thing. Have all your favorite stuff around. Sit, lie down, or assume a meditative position so your muscles can relax the most. Breathe a little more gently, deeply, and begin to notice the sensations in your body. Scan your body. Release any muscles that might be tense or engaged in any way. Ask your thinking mind to stay on the sidelines, allowing you to be quiet inside. Bring your focus to your breath and body and enjoy this free space. Create the stillness that is the space where dreams and fantasies enter. The deeper you allow yourself to sink into your internal stillness, into a relaxed, sensual presence alive in your body, the deeper and richer exploration of fantasy is possible. To skip this step of relaxing your body and try to dream while your nervous system is not yet relaxed is to deny yourself the juicier fantasies that are really possible for you. So take your time here, relax and enjoy your body. Step number 2, dream or fantasize. The objective here is to imagine the most fabulous, juicy, and delicious experience ever. As you sink into the still waters of your body, gently ask yourself 1 or more of the questions I'm about to read. After each question, wait. Some people see colors or images. Others hear words or feel sensations. When something happens, follow it like a dream from which you don't want to wake. Here are some questions that might launch an exploration for you, and you might have all of your own questions. You might have a place you want to start already. But here are some questions that can get you going in different directions. What does your body crave? What colors, textures, sounds, and smells would you love to be surrounded by? What emotions or mood would most nourish you? What other beings would be present in your hottest fantasy, if any? There's no need for anyone else to be there, is there? What is your ideal sexual expression? How would you love to express yourself sexually? What is the hottest scene you can imagine? And how could it be even hotter? What are your deepest desires in love and intimacy? What's the most crazy and beautiful sexual experience that could possibly unfold for you? Be it real or imagined, be it possible or impossible, be it part of the real world or not part of what we consider the real world. You may find yourself in a forest, under the ocean, on a cloud, or in outer space. It doesn't matter where you are in the known or unknown universe. Just follow it. What happens next? And next? Let it play out like a movie in your mind. Enjoy this ride as long as you want. And when you're ready, wrap your story up and bring your practice to a close. The third step in sexual fantasy, notice. The objective here is to capture the whole experience, especially in your body. What did you experience during your fantasy in your body? What are you experiencing now afterward? Notice any physical sensations. Notice any emotions. Notice any memories that have come up. Notice what you're desiring. Write about what happened in your fantasy or draw a picture. I love drawing the picture. Get the colors and draw a picture. I love all the pictures I have of my sexual fantasies, even though my drawing is crude, rude, and socially unacceptable. It's ridiculously elementary. It's just stick figures and stuff. Doesn't matter because I drew that image and it will bring me all the way back into that dream or fantasy. If you write about what happened in the fantasy, here are some prompts. Sensations I felt in my body were, images I saw were, emotions that I experienced were, thoughts that arose were, sounds, smells, and tastes that I experienced were. I would describe my sexual expression as the most interesting details were the scariest moment was when, the hottest moment was when, ... And what I learned about myself is ... What other ways might you want to express your sexual fantasy? Maybe write a poem. Take your time as you reflect about what happened for you in this practice. Maybe take a walk outside and get in the water. Just drink it in, this delicious fantasy you've imagined. And that's the practice right there. Did you try it yet? Is this your second time through and you tried it this time? Well played, my darling. If you have, you're awakening your wild and free imagination, the greatest play space ever, your desire's ultimate playground that's all yours to revisit and remodel anytime. At this point, I have volumes of sexual fantasies. I have a volume on this topic and with this kind of chain of events, and then a volume that starts over here in this other location and has this other kind of storyline, right? So then there's this other storyline. It has story after story after story has been built upon one at a time on the one upon the last. So if each different storyline was in a book, I'd have volume after volume after volume after volume, and each one would have story after story after story, because it's so fun to come back and be like, wait, where were we when we left? And what happens next? And just go crazy. If you're having any questions, let's go over some refinements. So if you've tried the practice or not, I want to talk about some things that could help your sexual fantasy be even hotter. And I just have 3 or 4 things here, a few things. The first one is quiet your mind. A quiet mind is essential. Your logical thinking mind brings you out of fantasy immediately. We're going for effortless visualization and imagination, not figuring anything out. If your mind will not stop, set aside some time to train your mind. Try relaxed breathing, meditation, yoga, sound baths, or other embodiment or relaxation techniques. I train my mind like a little puppy. It's so cute when it's trying to help me by jumping up and down spastically out of control. But it needs to be lovingly and firmly trained to sit when it's not time to work yet. The always spastic puppy I used to have is now a sharp, well-trained German Shepherd, one that I use, truthfully, a few minutes a day. And when not in use, she's happy to sit alertly by my side waiting for her next call. When I call her, she's as fast and efficient as lightning because she's not tired. She's been resting. The rest of the day, when I don't need my logical mind, I want to be in my body, which I cannot feel when my logical mind is leading. I want to be in my creative imagination, which is also offline when my logical mind is leading. And I want to be in the energy of the day, in my senses, in exquisite presence. The second refinement on this practice, don't hold back. No one's looking. Nobody can see what you're imagining. It's important that your imagination has a place to play where there's no judgment. I appreciate erotic diversity in my fantasies. The craziest stuff shows up. Stuff that would be downright dangerous in real life. Stuff that would be illegal. Stuff that's ugly or gross. Stuff that most would say is just plain wrong, girl. Stuff that's impossible. I follow whatever is hot in the moment. If we run away from any part of ourselves, we run away from all of ourselves. Don't run away. Be with the crazy. Be with the wild. See where it takes you. This is sometimes called shadow work. Invite all your senses to the party. Bring in color, texture, sound, elements, smells, taste. Feel it all in your body as it unfolds in your imagination. Focus on beauty and perfection. Focus on what you're craving. Let it unfold like a movie in your imagination, in your private dreamscape. Consciously focus on creation and visualization and delight in it. That's what it's for, darling. Could it be any juicier? The third refinement is what to do when you're blocked. If you're having trouble accessing your fantasies, consider what might be in the way. What does your obstacle look like and feel like in your body? What are some things that hold you back from imagining your desires? What are some deeper beliefs about what is acceptable or possible for you, which might hold you back? Maybe journal about this and think about how it applies in your life and what your intentions are for yourself about this thing. Are difficult sensations, emotions, or thoughts arising during your fantasy practice? It may be tempting to label these as bad, when they're actually important opportunities for learning. See what can be learned by the things that arise. See if you can note what arises like a neutral observer. Instead of, I felt horrible, try, the area around my heart was contracting and tightening. Try removing judgment about your experience and record only what objectively unfolded. The goal is to simply notice what's happening and be with that experience. Let the challenging emotions be heard, be seen, be felt, and love them, accept them, integrate them as a really important part of you that is there to do an important job, and then ask if they're ready to move up and out. Emotions are energy in motion. They want to move. They want to move up and out, but they need to be seen and felt and loved and accepted first. So if it's safe enough to do so, be with them so they can move along and stop haunting you. And I've collected just a couple of more frequently asked questions. One is my next step to act out my fantasy in real life? Well, in my life, it's been important to make some of my fantasies come true, ethically, safely, in full integrity. It's also been important to let some of my fantasies venture into situations that will never be acted out. Remember, your fantasies do not define you. Don't let the question of whether you'll act out this fantasy become a distraction from your mission to enjoy a super hot story in your imagination. Let's let that happen. Another thing people ask is, can I be in my fantasy while I'm with my partner? No. I never fantasize while I'm actually with someone else unless I'm actually sharing it with them out loud. It's unhealthy for us to use fantasy to escape or distract from the reality happening in the moment. So when I'm with someone in real life, I do not fantasize about others. Instead, try sharing your sexual fantasies with your partner if they have space to hear that. Of course, you don't have to share your fantasies with anybody if you don't want to. They belong to you. But if you do want to share your fantasies with a partner, ask them if they're willing to listen. You might want to take turns and hear theirs if they also want to share. I can't think of anything that's more fun. Share how each of you feel while sharing and hearing your fantasies with each other. Sharing fantasies can be very vulnerable. Try to remain supportive and non-judgmental. It can also be a heck of a lot of fun. See where it leads. And there's a reason why the sexual fantasy is actually important for humanity's future. So I want to just say a couple things about the big picture. As a group, as a culture, we've forgotten how to dream. Our imagination might be the only thing that separates us from other life forms, and yet we're taught to be afraid of and to reject our own imagination and fantasies. We're stuck to our screens. We consult quote unquote artificial intelligence so much that we atrophy our own. Streaming sound and video, bathing in noise from the outside world. We allow external sources to define our reality, including our sex life. Even with the variety of porn available, it remains a tragically limited view of what sexual expression can look like. It doesn't hold a candle to your wildest imagination. I am totally bored by all the porn I've seen, even though I've seen a wide variety, because my fantasies are 100 times more beautiful and cool and exciting and hot, so much more hot. We're taught to avoid the intrigue, the scary, the confusing, the risky. Yet it is our wild edges that fuel our creativity and make life exciting and delicious. In every shadow is a valuable lesson that we miss if we repress it. Sometimes a really juicy lesson. We've even become violent as a people because we don't channel our creativity and our sexuality. When we repress our juicy erotic impulses, they eventually leak out in unhealthy ways. It's frustrating to have so much powerful energy and creativity with no healthy outlet. However your fantasies show up, they're being drawn to you for a reason. They're an important part of you. They want to be expressed. They show you what's possible when you follow your pleasure. Your sexual fantasies are a very important part of who you are. Another big picture item that I've noticed is that to feel life's highs, we must feel life's lows. If you cut off your experience in one area, you cut it off in all areas. We block our potential for wild bliss when we avoid our fear and our pain. To thrive, we gently open ourselves to a wider range of human experience, allowing our bodies, emotions, minds, and souls to have their full range of experience and evolution, to experience ourselves at a higher level. The most scary or shocking parts of life might be the prize, not the problem. When we face these parts, We access the refining fire of realization that this too is part of me. This is what enables us to look at, accept, and love our shadow side. That which knows the good and also enjoys exploring the darkness. Like in a nightmare, stop running, turn around, look the monster in the face. Something interesting always happens next. Hold your heart open to all that unfolds. Allow it to be beautiful in your eyes. Practice staying present and in your own pleasure through the shadows. Reunite your body's pleasure with the rest of you. Don't let shadows scare you away from the sacred fire within your own body, the fire that contains all of you. Can you stay grounded and keep your heart open no matter what presents itself to you? Open and welcome all that presents itself, and you have attained true freedom. Enjoy the increasing capacity for freedom and pleasure that becomes available to you as you continue to explore your fears and release them. And the final piece of my message to you today in the big picture is, do it for humanity. Our desire is our passion. We were born as human beings to follow our passion, to cultivate our natural gifts. How do you think you find your natural gifts? Your passion. It's what turns you on the most. What does passion mean? It's turning me on. It's natural to imagine sexual situations. It's one of our greatest powers as humans. It's our drive, our creativity, our deepest wisdom, our life force itself. We will shift forward in human consciousness when we fully reclaim this part of ourselves. When we love and accept all parts of ourselves and step into deeper empowerment. So actually, the future of our species depends upon the lost art of sexual fantasy. So yes, do it for humanity. No pressure, wink, wink. Peel yourself away from the screen. Get comfy. And let your wildest imagination rip. Become an artist of your own spirit. Many blessings to you, my sweet darling. Dreaming is the first step to living life purposefully. And if you'd like to take this practice any deeper, I specialize in spiritual evolution through erotic exploration. Visit my site, apply for a free call, riverroaring.com. And I would really love to hear from you. Leave a comment on the socials or shoot me an email visiting my site at riverroaring.com. Click on Get Started and share your question, reflection, or insight. What do you think about this? How did it go for you when you tried it? What's coming up for you as you go toward this? What else do you want to hear about on this podcast? I'd like to hear all of that from you. I'd love to be in conversation. Because I'm on earth to support those who are called to bring maximum love and light into their lives. Liberated self-expression in all realms, where all is sacred. Connecting with you to create a cosmic web of love and light throughout the realms. Because together we can step into a more harmonious vibration, shifting human consciousness forever for the highest good of all beings. So, my darling, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I hope you find it useful in your life. May the love be with you, and may the love be with us all.